Okay, in this demo we're going to look at how to use RCommander for the first time to get the descriptive statistics for a particular data set. Okay, so when you start RCommander, depending on whether you're using a self-install at home or you're doing it in the labs, it's a slightly different process to start RCommander, and there'll be instructions for that elsewhere. But eventually you should get possibly these two windows. You'll notice that one of them here on the left on my screen is called RConsole. I'm not interested in that one at this stage, and one is called RCommander. This is the one in the middle. So I'm going to actually shrink down the RConsole one. Now, to be able to do anything with RCommander, of course, we need some data. So before I go and do that, I'm going to get the first data set we're going to use, which comes from the Views site. Here's the Views site. Go to Learning Materials, scroll down, and at the bottom there's a folder called Data. There's only one data set in there at the moment. There should be more later. I'm just going to right click and save target as. It's going to offer where I want to save that. Because I'm doing this in a lab type situation, I've got a directory called biometry and then RUWS files. If you're doing that at home, you have a different setup. Okay, I'm going to save that file. Once that's finished, I can click close there. If I open my documents and go to that folder, you'll see there's now a file there called Mitchelson1, which is the data set from lectures, and it says it's a Microsoft Excel comma-separated values file. Okay, that's the standard format that we will use. You can open these with Microsoft Excel. Let's just do that. Double click. And you'll see there's a column with a heading speed and a list of numbers, which is the actual 20 observations from the Mitchelson experiment that we saw in lectures. Okay, I don't need that anymore, so we'll just quit. Quit from that. Alright, I don't need that window, and I don't need views anymore. Okay, before I can do anything with this data, I have to open it in RCommander. So I go to Data. I'm going to import data. So it's this import data. I'm going to import it from a text file. See how it says there, text file. CSV files are a form of text file. So that's the top entry in that menu. Okay, we now get this little dialog box which pops up. In this dialog box there's a number of things that we can do. The first thing, because it's comma separated, I want to change under field separator, I want to change that to commas. Okay, and then I'll click OK. Okay, it's going to give me a dialog box. This turns out to be in the right place for this version, otherwise you may have to navigate to wherever you saved that file. I just click on the file and click Open. Okay, doesn't seem like much has happened, but it has in fact loaded that data set. It's given it a default name of just data set. I could have changed that at the loading time. We'll look at how to do that sort of thing later. It's listed here now as data set. If I just quickly want to view that, I can view the data set using that button. Just come out way over here. Okay, so we've moved the box in slightly in there. You can just see again the data. It's headed speed and it has the 20 observations from lectures there in it. Okay, I don't need that now, so I'll just close it down. Okay, so how do we calculate the descriptive statistics for this? On the top of the RCommander window there, you can see there's a bunch of menu items. Reading from left to right, they say File, Edit, Data, Statistics, Graphs, Models, Distributions, Tools, and Help. We're going to do some statistics, so we'll click Statistics. Okay, we want the top entry, which is Summaries. We just scroll over that. And I want numerical summaries, which is the data set, just the second entry down on that menu. Okay, it automatically then loads this dialog which says which variable. In this data set there is only one variable, that would be columns in the data. It gives me the option to summarize by groups, but there are no groups in this data, so I leave that alone. If you then look at speed is already highlighted. I can go to the statistics thing, tab, and it'll ask me which summary statistics do I want. I'm just going to leave that alone, so we'll go back to data, and then I just click OK, which is in the middle here. Okay, now we go back to the RCommander window, and at the bottom here there's a section called Output, and down the bottom you can see, ignore all the red code, which is basically the code that RCommander has run. You can see in blue the summary statistics. It gives us the mean 909, the standard deviation 104.926, the interquartile range 130, and some of the quartiles. The 0% quartile, that's actually the minimum in the data set, which is 650. The first or quartile, or lower quartile as it's called, that's 850. It's the 25th percentile, so it's labeled 25% there. The median is the 50th percentile, or the second quartile, that's 940. It's labeled as 50%. We're at the 75th percentile, which is the same as the upper quartile, that's 980. And then the 100th percentile, which is basically the maximum of the data, that's 1070 in this data set. Right at the end we have n. N is just the number of observations in the sample, and we can see here that that's 20. Okay, that's basically the end of this demonstration.